like to start, if we can, first with prices, because, of course, back in 2018, you said within 4 years, so by 2022, Bitcoin would be at 250,000. That obviously didn't happen in terms of that dollar figure. Now you've said it'll happen in 2025. So we have, 12 plus months to go here. Do you still stand by that call?
Well, I don't know why anybody's still listening to me if I missed that one, but there was a moment in 2014 where Bitcoin was at about 180, and I said that it was going to be worth 10,000 in 3 years, and it hit it almost to the date. And so I thought I was magic. And so when I predicted 250,000, I clearly didn't get it right. I didn't get it right in the 4-year time horizon that I gave it. A few things I didn't expect. I didn't expect the U.S. government to be so paranoid about it. And I expected the U.S. government to figure out how to tax in it and figure out how to allow people to do business with Bitcoin as their base currency. And it's happened in a number of other countries. And that's why Bitcoin's doing so well, is other countries are recognizing how valuable it is to them. I know that people don't trust the Argentinian peso. Now they might, but or the Nigerian naira at all. And so people like to do business in Bitcoin in those countries. And so I think I miscalculated on how aggressive how scared the U.S. government was running. And now they realize that Bitcoin's actually better for everyone. It keeps perfect records. The people who they all thought were criminals using Bitcoin, turns out they were all caught. So using dollars is probably better for a criminal. And I think that there's going to be a moment where there's a run on the banks the way after the Civil War there was a run on Confederate money, and there was a run on the Greek drachma and a run on the French franc when they became a part of the euro. So I actually think that there will be a moment in time when I can buy my food, clothing, and shelter all in Bitcoin, and people won't want dollars anymore. And
that use case that you're describing, Tim, is
250,000.
Well, the use case you're describing is actually it being used as currency, when a lot of people actually think the value comes from it being a store of value, from the idea that there's a finite supply. That's why there's been a lot of hype about the upcoming halving. Do you not think that that matters?
Oh, of course it matters. But of course it is a store of value, and that's a first step. And then I look at the stable coins as a bridge toward a Bitcoin economy. And I think that they're also going to be very important to the world for a while. And then when people realize that they want a currency that has a fixed number, and they want a currency that they can operate without being subject to political forces, the swings of political forces changing the value of a coin.
Right.
I think it's going to be a really interesting 5 or 10 years ahead of us, where there is some time in that 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a time when you don't really want to hold dollars anymore, because you know that they're political and they're subject to inflation. And they're subject to whatever the central bank or the political forces decide to do.
Well, Tim,
when Trump spent $9 trillion, our dollars were suddenly worth about 75 cents, and people say, "Oh yeah, it's inflation." Well, it's because the government just decided to spend all that money. And so I think we've got a currency that we can trust throughout the world, and you can have Bitcoin. You can it's globally recognized. It can be used in many different ways, and it's more stable for anybody who's trying to run a business.
Well, let's talk about stable coins in your comments there. Is that a theme that you're investing along? You think about Tether, for example, Circle potentially exploring an IPO. Is that something you're putting money behind?
No, I think that was a bridge to Bitcoin. I think I make investments in a lot of different companies in a lot of different fields, and I think that the investment themes I have now are these layer 2, layer 3 programs that are creating new systems for Bitcoin. I look at Bitcoin a lot the way I looked at Microsoft. Microsoft created a platform for everybody to use. And then people created all sorts of different software packages, WordPerfect, Lotus 123, they were all on this operating system. And then Microsoft saw that those were valuable, and they decided to create Word and Excel and other things so that the operating system was all dominated by Microsoft. Well, same thing's now happening with Bitcoin. There were a lot of experiments with a lot of other tokens out there, and the Bitcoin programmers are now saying, okay, we want DeFi, we want NFTs, which are now called ordinals. We want, so they choose a few really key applications, and they're all going on Bitcoin. So I think that's going to be the next generation, and that's where we're putting a lot of our crypto investment dollars.
Well, let's talk about somewhere else. You are putting your own personal dollars, Tim, because you have been putting money behind Nikki Haley, the Republican presidential candidate. I believe you've donated over $1 million. But, sir, my question is, you think she's terrific, yet she's polling significantly behind Donald Trump in South Carolina, her home state. She lost to him in New Hampshire and Iowa. Are you going to keep that money flowing if she doesn't start winning states, if she can't win South Carolina?
She's gone from 2% of the vote to now 43% of the vote, and it's all up from here. All you have to do is put those two side by side, and you know that you've got to have Nikki Haley as your president. She is extraordinary. She has great gravitas. She is a delightful person. She believes in freedom. She believes in democracy. And I can't imagine a self-respecting woman voting for Trump. And this is a really, really important election. I have not been active since I supported Obama many years ago with the presidential elections. And this one really matters to all of us. Our democracy is at stake. Our freedom is at stake. And we have a great candidate. And clearly, she's cleared the field.
We're almost out of time, but just quickly, yes or no, as long as Nikki Haley stays in this campaign, you will continue your financial contributions to her?
Oh, absolutely. She's fantastic.
Okay.
I mean, what do you mean? I think it's the guys who are supporting Trump who should start questioning themselves. I think this is the time. Nikki, we've got an opportunity for a great president, and we got to support her.